Hi, it's me, Ziggy. I'm back of the Ziggy Zone to do day two of our 10-day brand challenge. So today's prompt, the prompt for day two is the catalyst moment. So really the defining experiences to where I am today. Um, and so I just want to talk about like really what transpired to make me even move forward the agenda of the Ziggy Zone. I remember it was 2010 and the Giants had just won their first World Series. So it was like towards the end of 2010. And I was at work and I was, talking. I was like the only person that like really was into sports at my job. And I remember we had a community partner come in and we were talking about it. And I was just going on and on and on about the Giants. And then that conversation led into the 49ers, obviously. So I was talking on and on and on and on about the 49ers and the Giants. And then I was talking to guys, and one guy, he was like, wow, you really know what you're talking about. Like, you know more than me. And I was like, I guess I didn't really think much of it because I was like, don't we all know this information? So for me at that point, I thought it was common knowledge. Like if you really love the sports, whatever your teams are, you really are invested in those teams and learning all that you can and staying abreast of everything. So that was the first thing. And then I want to say in 2013, I'll never forget this. I was on vacation and I was watching, I think the Heat were playing San Antonio in the finals that year. So this was in June, obviously. And I will never forget, I was in this place where I had a colleague whose last name was Chalmers. And on the Heat, there was another player, Mario Chalmers, I think is his name at the time. And so I was just talking about Chalmers, and I was like, Gordon Chalmers, right? And I'm like, oh shit, like that's. I had realized, because I was like, is that his name? Because I couldn't figure out Chalmers' first name. And I'll never forget, I was tweeting about it, and one guy that I followed was like, yeah, you need to go to the kitchen. And I was like, dude, like, just because I got his first name wrong, like, seriously, like, that is not a reason to send a woman to the kitchen, especially me. Like, I'm not going to the kitchen. I'm sorry. I'm going to be out there watching the game with you. In fact, you go to the kitchen. It's really how I felt. So it's just that moment for me. I just felt like it was so not necessarily rude or disrespectful, but it's almost as if as a woman you're not allowed in this bubble to even discuss sports, let alone have some sort of knowledge of sports. And like one slip up, like we all, we forget things. Like clearly the name association, I was on vacation, but the name was associated with someone at work who had a similar name. They had the same last name, they just had a different first name. So for me, at that moment, I could understand how perhaps other women would feel, right? Like you might know a little bit or you might know what you're talking about, but saying one thing, no matter how large or how small, that's inaccurate, it gives cause for a guy to dismiss what you have to say or dismiss your presence. And I'm standing my ground. So I wasn't going nowhere, even though it was on Twitter. And that's just that world, but in the real world too, right? Like in the real world, I'm just not going to be dismissed from this space because it's perceived to be a male dominant space or a males only space. This is America. This is the free world, which means I, as well as anyone else, we have the space and liberty to discuss what we want and to go where we want. And so that experience for myself really wanted me to gift women with an opportunity to build their confidence and esteem to be in any space, whether it's male dominated or not. And my focus is sports. I love sports. It's a great starting ground of socialization, right? People are there to have good fun. And so if you start off in a light arena such as sports, of building your voice, of acquiring new knowledge, then that will hopefully, this is my prayer, will translate into other arenas of your life. So really, those two things were really the catalyst for me really moving the Ziggy Zone along. The first really engaging in conversations with men, and them admitting that I knew more than they did. And the second being, though, Twitter is Twitter, who really cares? The notion that because I said the wrong name, that I did not deserve to be in that space. So, day 2, I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Stay tuned. Also, be sure to go to www.theziggyzone.com. Subscribe to our email distribution list. Play around with the website, read, watch the videos, comment, things of that nature. We also have some products coming out, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that, which is why you should subscribe to the email distribution list, as well as signing up or subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you want to stay connected to me on the daily, definitely follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope at The Ziggy Zone. Thank you. Ciao.